My name is Andrew Goldberg. I live in Geneva. My wife and I and family worked here for 14 years. First of all, I have the privilege to ask you to actually implore upon you to offer us a balanced operating budget. I congratulate you on a balanced operating budget. I'd also like to thank the board and their families for the time and the effort and the sacrifices to make the serve on the board as a volunteer position. I know our city you are professional, capable, and very committed to serving the needs of our student body, and I appreciate that. But as stewards of 67.7% of our property tax dollars, I ask you to be good stewards of that money. And to the point made earlier, we don't necessarily need to have a Cadillac. As an example, last fall at a board meeting, board president Stitt, I believe, we made a comment how we were rated in the top 5% of a lot of other schools in academic performance. And you compared us to many North Shore schools on the north side. And then you point out, conversely, that our cost per student was significantly lower than the state average from an education standpoint, education expenditures. I congratulate the board again and the administration on that. It's a job well done. But also on the website for the district, I also see that our operating expenditures is $831 per student above the state average. What I would advocate is that there's going to reduce the non-teaching or non-client-facing, as I call it, expenditures. I am not advocating that the district make any just cuts to education or student-facing positions or expenditures. Oftentimes we hear when people talk about cutting the budget, the first thing the administration says is that it's going to induce fear, that they say we're going to cut teachers or it's going to be larger classrooms or something to that effect. I would advocate that with an expenditure of our operating budget larger than the state average, that we could, under your direction to the administration, direct them to look for some additional cuts in operating expenditures that are non-student based and do not sacrifice our students' education. I know in the past, a lot of people stood up here and say, I paid all this money in property taxes and all that. Well, we all make a choice to live in Geneva. This isn't about how much I pay, or you pay, or any of us pay. It's about being good stewards of our tax dollars and using the money wisely. We all want a superior education. We'd also like it at a very reasonable cost. Thank you.
Ron Wolf, I'm president of Geneva. Been here about 6 years. I paid over $30,000 just for schools in the country. That's not about the issue. I think I can speak to the room here is that we're here for the kids in the classroom to get good education and pay competent teachers to keep them here, right? That's the goal of this entire team that we have here. Thank you for letting me speak to you. Thank you all for volunteering as members. I don't have time all to do that. I don't have time for that. When I walk around with the school, we have the best windows, the best floor. These are quality schools in the community. And I don't think as a taxpayer, probably say I'm a taxpayer, on Randall Road, I saw something really unique on Saturday. People all over the place with signs. They were just unique. I've never seen like that in my life. Randall Road. I've just traffic now. People with signs, talking delivery, that kind of thing. I'm good with things are happening in America. I think some of you probably inherited all these problems when you came to the board in years past. I don't know. I just got it 6 years ago. What bothers me as a taxpayer, and I wrote my check at King County 2 weeks ago, I thought, wait a minute, where's this money going to? Well, I tell myself, it's in a classroom, the kids are going to get good pencils, good laptops, whatever else, good teachers. When we hear things and read things about fiscal problems, whether they're true or not, the perception that a taxpayer like me hears is disturbing. You have our attention. Everybody here, you have our attention. We're here. We're not going to leave. Okay? I'm going to show up every time I can because we need to know that we're serious. Okay? Whether we can afford to pay our tax bill is irrelevant. We all chose to live here. But we need to have a warm feeling that it's being spent properly. Honestly, I don't feel that right now. Nothing against any of you personally. It's not being spent properly. I'm not an accountant. I had a hard time interpreting some of the figures. If I had more time, I could probably figure it out and go to more board meetings. But I hear things and read things. $40,000 a month in cell phone bills. I don't know if that's true or not. You see things, you read things, you can't hear them when you read, You hear things like fancy school buses. I walk in the school here, it's a beautiful floor. It's very nice. I think what we've done here is, as a 6-year newbie, we've got these gorgeous schools here. We've probably tried to do too much at once, all together right now. Let's build another fabulous school, Frank Lloyd Wright design, whatever else costs no free. Let's do the best we can all at once. Then I look at the website today and I see a $6.2 million deficit from last year. I don't know if it's true or not, but the website shows operating revenues and expenditures. $6.2 million difference. So I'm like, my gosh, how do we take care of the deficit? So, again, as a taxpayer, writing my check twice a month, I asked King County, I said, what can we do about this? They said, go to your school board. So I'm here. I don't think you understand how serious we are in this room. I hope you do. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm just saying that you have our attention. We're paying a lot of money. A lot of people here can't afford to pay higher tax bills. We need to have assurances from you that, you know what, we're not going to spend X amount for Christmas gifts. Although it's good for human resources, maybe we can't do that. If we have 2 or 3 administrators per school, maybe we don't need another deputy principal. Maybe we can collateral duty to somebody else. You've got to start cutting back. You cannot keep building these fabulous schools like we have at our tax basis. I'm paying over $5,000 just for the school districts. If you charge me $1,000 a month for school, I'm going to leave. Okay, I'm going to sell my house because I have to put it. You got to put your foot down and say, you know what? We don't have to have this new school or a nice floor every time. Maybe we can just go with a lesser quality Illinois or something else. Maybe we don't need buses with airplanes. Maybe we can save money somehow. I don't know. I'm not an accountant. I can't just walk in here. This is awkward for me speaking about this. I don't have all the facts. I know that something is wrong. I think we're spending too much and I'm not coming in. Now, I know that my assessment came down for my house about $9,000 and I have to either appeal or just be happy with it. But as a reasonable man, non-accountant, just a taxpayer, I realize that next year I know my assessment's going to go down, but my taxes in King County aren't going to go down because you guys have a financial problem. You are at a crisis stage right now with the deficit. Knowing that, there's no way I'm going to pay less taxes next year. I realize that. And if I have assurances or I have a warm feeling that they're spending the money properly and there's no excess fluff, if you will excuse my French, but fluff, if it's not built in the budget, I feel better about it. Because right now, I'm not a very happy taxpayer like that. Even pay as we have to. It's all about the kids in the classroom. Not about the fancy floors. They won't go to Harvard any quicker than not if they have a fancy floor or not. Okay, it's the teacher in the classroom. Okay, that's it. Whether we need fancy windows like this and Frank Lloyd Wright designs, I don't know. In my opinion, we don't. I grew up in Morton Grove. We didn't have schools like this. And I went to college. It's irrelevant. But I think you've got to understand us in the room. We're serious. I'm serious. I'm upset. Please hear us. Okay? Donna, you have a difficult, Donna? I know a PowerPoint is not going to answer our questions as the budget presented. I realize that. But we need some more answers. My last thought is, it's going to cost money, but you probably get expensive with it. I don't mean that. Maybe we need to have a third-party neutral set of eyes come in, like an advisor or like a consultant, to say, how can we drastically cut back, fix our deficit situation? We've got to spend $30,000 or $40,000 or whatever for consulting. Go off for bid, of course, to get the best person. And we're going to take a snapshot. What are we doing? How can we save money quickly? That's my last sentence. Thank you.